Good evening and welcome to our 20th anniversary Chabot Star Party Spectacular and fundraising event at Chabot Space Science Center. My name's Lisa Hoover, Programs Manager at Chabot, and I'll be one of your co-hosts. Thank you one and all for tuning in, and feel free to give us a hello or a shout out in the comments. Tell us what you're looking forward to seeing tonight. Tonight, we're celebrating the latest chapter in our 137th year legacy of inspiring and educating learners of all ages. Founded in 1883, Chabot is one of the oldest science centers and observatories in the country. This year is our 20th anniversary of being right here on our beautiful Skyline campus. A big special heartfelt thank you to our incredible volunteer, Don Saito, for this stunning opening drone footage. We're so excited to bring you a stellar star party with activities and heartwarming nostalgia that makes Chabot a treasured home for science in Oakland. Tonight, our education team will be leading fun, engaging STEM experiments for you to try at home. We'll learn more about Chabot's history as one of the oldest science centers in the country and test your knowledge with rounds of Chabot trivia. We'll also hear from some of our community partners and Chabot staff throughout the night. You don't want to miss a second. And now, I'd like to introduce you to one of my co-hosts this evening, Membership Manager Eric Kavanaugh. Here's to you.
Hello, everybody. Well, it's a little dark in here, but it's all right. I was just admiring the capsule. It's been a while since I've seen the capsule. As you can see, we're working really hard. One of my favorite colleagues has been working hard on it. Again, thank you for having me and my team inside your homes tonight. Hope everyone's being safe out there and healthy. Tonight, we're coming together as a community of scientific thinkers to raise funds for STEM education. Here at Chabot, we need your help to continue creating accessible educational opportunities tonight and to our communities. Every donation tonight helps power STEM learning for our community and empowers our next generation of learners and leaders. Tonight, you can double your impact with your donations to support STEM education here at Chabot. All gifts made now through August 31st will be matched dollar for dollar by our awesome and generous Chabot board members up to $50,000. Thank you, Chabot members, board members. And also, you know, help us take advantage of this match. You know, tonight is a definitely good night to feel proud about your donation and feel proud about this community. We're asking you, our Chabot family, to support us tonight however you can. And there's going to be a lot of ways to do it. You can make a donation online with the links in the video description. For those of you on Facebook, there's that button right there. Feel free to click that many times tonight if you can. And check out our virtual silent auction. There's some really, really cool stuff in there. There's a chance to win once-in-a-lifetime experiences or prints from our last exhibition, Luminous Moon. These are really awesome one-off prints. So to tell you more about all this cool stuff that we have and all these opportunities you have to lean in, take it back, Lisa.
Thanks, Eric. Some of the experience include private telescope viewing through our historical telescopes, a live science show with one of our educators, a personal guided VIP dinner under the stars in our stunning planetarium, and I'm taking one lucky group on an exclusive version of my sunset hike and sip through the redwoods with storytelling and stargazing. Create out of this world memories with some of these lifetime experiences. Here's one of the items you can bid on tonight in our silent auction. One of the prints from our Luminous Moon exhibit. Imagine decorating your home with one of these prints. We have more than 20 unique and captivating images available for bidding tonight. You don't want to miss out. Eric, back to you.
Hello. Thanks, Lisa. That was great. These are some pretty awesome stuff. Can I get some likes, some hearts, some comments, some love down in these little boxes over here? That would be awesome. Just want to wake everybody up and make sure everyone's rolling here. For those out there who might not know us, or who may not have had the chance to visit us in person, I know I've been talking to a lot of donors that been tuning in on for virtual stuff from out of town and from out of state. So I hope you're here tonight as well. Chabot Space Science Center is a nonprofit community resource located in the awesome Redwood Regional Park of my favorite town, Oakland. Our mission is to inspire and educate learners of all ages about the universe and the planet Earth, and sometimes its neighbor. Tonight, we'll be showing you different parts of the center, which includes exhibits on space, science, multiple historic telescopes, a planetarium, an early learner lab, an outdoor environmental observation deck, 3 science labs, and an outdoor amphitheater. Wow. When I reflect on that, there's so much awesome stuff here, and I wish you could all be here right now. So now let's get this party started. No fundraisers is complete without a good beverage in hand. This thing's empty though. One of my favorite parts of Chabot events is a fun signature cocktail, but of course we can't just have a cocktail here. We need to top that cocktail off with science. So we're going to kick off tonight's celebration with some special scientific. Hope you can try it at home. If not, you can try it after, or maybe this weekend. Join us as we toast 20 years tonight with a delicious experiment. Lisa, can you help me out? How am I going to make this cocktail?
Hi, Lisa here, coming to you from the Cosmic Kitchen here at Chabot with tonight's drinks special. This is one the entire family can enjoy. Here's tonight's recipe, which you can download from our event link. 1/3 cup of baking soda, 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of citric acid, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 15 drops of concentrated flavoring, a few drops of cake coloring, 2 single-serving unsweetened flavored drink package, which you can substitute with 1 unsweetened Kool-Aid packet, and lastly 1 package of Pop Rocks. Mix the baking soda and cake coloring first. Then incorporate all of the dry ingredients except the citric acid. You want to leave it for the end so that your mixture doesn't react too soon. Slowly begin to incorporate the flavoring a few drops at a time. Citric acid is a weak acid that naturally occurs in all citrus fruits like lemons, limes, grapefruits, oranges, and a few more. It's what gives those fruits that sour taste. Commercially, citric acid is used as a flavor enhancer. It's used in medications and personal healthcare products. It's used as a preservative. It's used as a cleaning agent. The uses go on and on. But these days, it's no longer made commercially from the fruit. It's actually made from a fungus. Now let's add the citric acid and mix thoroughly. And let's begin to add a little bit of moisture. I recommend a spray bottle so we can control that reaction as much as possible. The mixture should still be fairly dry, but when you squeeze it, it should form together in clumps. And that's how you'll know it's ready. To form the drink bomb, firmly press the mixture into a tablespoon or a small mold, and then gently set it out to dry. Let's get ready to serve our drink bomb. Remember, you can use it in any unsweetened, carbonated or uncarbonated beverage. The drink bomb reaction is the result of the interaction between the baking soda and the citric acid, resulting in the production of bubbly carbon dioxide gas and fizz. You can play with the experiment and play with the ratio of materials to see if you can get the fizziest action. You can also drop it in tonic water and use a black light if you'd like your drink to glow. Thank you for your support and cheers to 20 more years. That's good.
Hello. I just saw some cool comments. Cindy, absolutely wear something sparkly tonight. And if you can, share a picture of what you're wearing with us in the comments. That would be awesome. And also, Jules, let's see that margarita. So you better make a picture. This is going to be not a long night, but long enough. All right. So let's get this started. I got my cocktail and my drink bomb. Are you ready, Lisa?
I'm ready.
All right. 3,
3, 2, 1.
Cheers. Prost.
Cheers, everybody.
Well, we are going to have an exciting night now that we have all these drinks. And like I said, you might want to have a couple more lined up. Together, we are all celebrating 137 years of STEM learning here, and especially 20 years that have happened here on Skyline. You know what? Also, this is the downfall of sequence. If you're having a good time out there, let us know in the comments, and please consider making that awesome donation and feeling awesome about it. This helps us with free and accessible opportunities for learning for everyone of all ages. Remember, a donation of $250 helps support the materials for our virtual programs right now while we're closed, and so we can keep that beat of STEM learning in the community. Thank you to those who have already donated tonight. I've already seen some stuff coming in. I'm excited to share some numbers maybe later as the night goes on. We are so grateful to have folks like you in our community. Thanks so much. Over the years, we've been honored to grow many important community partnerships. I wanted to share with you a bit about one of our most important initiatives here at Chabot, is our Learning Everywhere initiative. Thumbs up and hearts if you've heard about it. If not, I'm gonna tell you. We believe all kids are born scientists. All kids are born creative. All kids are born with a love of experimentation and a joy of discovery. These are not attributes that we are creating. Our work is to expand and foster these skills for all learners, young and old. To do this, we emphasize inquiry-based learning, inclusion, community, and play throughout our programming. The primary goal is access to go where kids are in their communities, to equip them with the tools and skills and confidence to know that science is for them so they can empower themselves to pursue ongoing learning projects, ultimately into STEM-related careers. That would be awesome. Chabot seeks to provide ongoing offsite programs that transcends the traditional outreach model. Chabot does this through programs with multiple engagements that explicitly weave together learning in multiple environments, including Chabot itself. By working directly with community partners, we build ongoing opportunities for STEM education and authentic sense of inclusion, relevance, and empowerment for underserved youth. One of the most important partners we are proud to work with is the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland. We love them. In our pilot year, we ran after-school workshops in the community, off-site here, a community science night, as well as a community day here at Chabot. all featuring hands-on engaging STEM activities. This is just one example of our work that is fueled by all the donations tonight and all the donations that just come in. We are kicking off our fundraiser tonight with these 30-second fundraising flashes to give everyone an opportunity to take a second, click that button, and make a donation. Remember, help us take advantage of that match from our board. It is $50,000 on the table for us. Please help us there. And are you ready? Get your finger on the mouse or on the touchpad or on the button. And here we go. The clock starts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flash. Well, that was quick. Thank you, everybody. I saw a couple people in there. Jill, thanks. Also, Rashmi, thanks for the birthday. Props to you. And thank you for all the incredible donations that are pouring in. This is awesome. Thanks. I'm really proud to be here tonight and being here for Chabot. Now, if you missed this one, no worries. If you're still thinking about it, it's fine. Don't have 250, that's fine too. Just make yourself feel proud with whatever you can. The number one thing about Chabot that I love is my colleagues and their dedication to making learning accessible and also finding that awesome way to make it really fun to learn for the community. Lisa, you've been teaching at Chabot since before me and before we moved to Skyline. What's your favorite memory from your time as an educator here at the center? Please share.
Thanks, Eric. Just want to give you a brief update. It looks like we're at $2,300 so far. So big virtual high five, way to go. Keep it going tonight, folks. So favorite memories, wow, there are so many. A few that stick out in my mind was the 2012 trip of the Space Shuttle Endeavour on its way to Southern California at its resting place. You know, we teach about spacecraft, but when you see the real thing, and we have those moments where, you know, we see something astronomical in the sky, those once in a lifetime experience, they're just incredible. You know, we've met astronauts, and we met the wife of the commander of the shuttle mission, June Scobie Rogers. These are just incredible memories. Eric, don't you agree?
I do. And you're rad. Thanks, Lisa, for sharing. One of my favorites was actually when I came in for my interview and walking through the behind the scenes office and seeing all the individual desks and just seeing the interaction between my colleagues that are now my colleagues. And I definitely wanted to be here. So glad to be here. We encourage all of you to share your favorite memories. It was awesome to hear read all the memories in the beginning slide today. Thanks for members for sharing your memories with us early. It was really awesome, but we would love to hear more and please share more. As we look back at our last 20 years on Skyline, shout out to our fantastic members, our volunteers, volunteers, love you. Donors, board members, and staff who return year after year to bring science to life here at Chabot. If you're having a good time out there, I'd love to see more hearts. And if you're having a really good time out there, join us as a member. Even though we're closed, we have a lot of engaging stuff still that is available to you. And we're excited to bring you back through the doors as soon as we can open in June. So if you want to become a member or you want to donate later, chabotspace.org.com or chabotspace.org and click on join and give. We love our extended Chabot member family. Now that we have all our drinks, who's on their second drink, by the way? Thumbs up to you. Let's take a look at how we're doing tonight. Oh, never mind. Thanks, Lisa. You already shared that with us.
Thanks, Eric. You guys are doing awesome. A huge thanks to everyone out there supporting STEM education tonight. Let's keep it going. We really appreciate you. Now let's continue our celebration with our first round of Chabot trivia. I know you've been waiting. Take a sip, get ready. All right. We have a long history. Remember, we are over 137 years old, but how much do you know about Chabot behind the scenes? We're going to show you some questions and put your answers in the chat comments. Are you ready? Let's begin. Question number 1. The first director of Chabot Space Science Center was Jose Olivares, Mike Reynolds, Kingsley Whiteman, or Charles Burkhalter? I'll give you a few moments. I still see some answers, so we're gonna keep waiting till we see you get them all in. Keep it going, keep it going. A lot of good guesses coming in. All right, I think time's up. The answer is number 2, Dr. Mike Reynolds. He was Florida State Teacher of the Year in '86. He's a fellow Royal Astronomy Society member and a candidate for the first Teacher in Space program. He actually trained with Teacher in Space Krista McAuliffe. And he was our first executive director here for many years, saw us into the entrance of this new building. How'd you do, Eric?
Not so hot, but that was really a stumper. But I learned something new about Chabot, so that was cool. How did you all do? I saw that there was some pretty good guesses in there. Well, thanks for all the thumbs up and the hearts. Appreciate that. Anyway, I'm really impressed for anyone that got that. You guys really know your stuff out there. We'll be doing a few more rounds of trivia, so there's a chance to, get that thinking cap on and warmed up. So stay tuned for more. Back to you, Lisa.
All right. Good job. I saw we saw all the answers, so it's not too late to get another shot. As some of you may know, Dr. Mike Reynolds passed away this past year, but he is or was an intricate part of the Chabot story. As a candidate for the Teacher in Space program and an astronomer and an eclipse enthusiast, he shared glimpses into the lives of what astronauts go through in their training that inspired us all. So we're starting talking about the history of Chabot, that history that's filled with 137 years of learning, making an impact in Oakland and far beyond. Over the years here at Chabot, we've had several hundreds of thousands of visitors, teachers, students, and families. And now we're seeing our audience grow in this new virtual way. Your support tonight allows us to continue to bring STEM home to your houses and out through the community. During this time, during our temporary closure, our work continues. We have adapted our educational and programmatic efforts to our online platforms. Our Learning Launchpad, which you can check out on our website, offers engaging STEM activities, videos, and a lot more for your family audiences. Our education team has been creating live science shows to engage and experiment with our online audience. Additionally, we've pivoted some of our public programs as well. Many of you out there have tuned in for our popular May the 4th party and our weekly telescope viewing or our virtual hikes with yours truly. Now our team is working on creating virtual field trips to bring to the community. Your support tonight will help us with this vital STEM work. In less than a minute, you can make a difference tonight by making a donation or bidding on our silent auction items. Click on the links in the description to be part of our impact. Thank you everyone so far who has contributed tonight, and it's not too late to get yours in. Up next, we're so excited to have UC Berkeley astrophysicist and Chabot member Alex Filippenko. Alex is one of the world's most highly cited astronomers. He's the recipient of numerous prizes for his scientific research. He's one of the only person to have been the member of both teams that revealed the Nobel-worthy accelerating expansion of the universe. Voted best professor on the UC Berkeley campus for a record 9 times, he was selected as the 2006 National Professor of the Year. He has produced many astronomy video courses. He's co-authored award-winning textbooks and appears in more than 100 television documentaries. Take it away, Alex.
Hello, supporters and fans of the Chabot Space and Science Center. I'm Alex Filippenko, a professor of astronomy at UC Berkeley for 34 years, a Chabot board member for about a decade, and the parent of several children who have enjoyed going to Chabot. I hope all of you are well during these difficult and stressful times. It's definitely been a crazy half year, hasn't it? Wow. This month, we're celebrating Chabot's 137th birthday and its 20-year anniversary at the current Skyline location. Well, I'm really excited to join you tonight as we reflect on Chabot's long history in Oakland. We've planned several activities for a virtual celebration, and we look to you, our community, to help raise funds for the important work our team is doing for STEM education. Chabot is such an important place for STEM enrichment. Most visitors, and especially kids, have a great time here, becoming more excited about science and technology and improving their scientific literacy. Having been bitten by the science bug at an early age, some of them will become the scientific leaders of the future. At Chabot, programs such as Galaxy Explorers provide incredible opportunities for young people to become science educators, allowing them to spread their passion and knowledge to kids. I've had college students who were Galaxy Explorers, and they sing the praises of this amazing program for years thereafter. This is a crucial time in our nation's history, with a growing assault on science that is reaching alarming proportions. Examples of conclusions that are not based on evidence abound. Now, it seems incredible, but quite a few Americans believe that Earth is flat. A poll in 2013 revealed that 7% think the NASA moon landings were a hoax. And over 10% of Americans are convinced that Earth and the universe are fewer than 10,000 years old. Come on, let's get real. It has never been more important than now to defend evidence-based inquiry and support seeds of innovation as science comes under attack. Science is the key to addressing the significant challenges facing our world. As we confront pandemics, climate change, and more, we rely on science to help us understand and solve new problems in unprecedented times. With its focus on exciting, engaging, and just simply fun STEM education, Chabot is helping to create an informed citizenry. Now, you might ask, who cares if some people don't like science and have beliefs that are contrary to the evidence? Well, at the very least, there can be innocent victims. These include children who do not get exposed to science and critical thinking, and thus end up not being properly educated, precluding them from contributing at the cutting edge of our increasingly technological world. But it becomes downright dangerous and irresponsible if national government policies that affect millions of people are based on unsupported claims or opinions rather than on facts and evidence-based inquiry. American science is of enormous benefit to all of society. It creates jobs and is an engine for economic growth. It saves lives through medical advances. It supports US agriculture and protects the environment. It is a symbol for American progress and ingenuity. And indeed, it is essential for the prosperity and health of the nation. The next generation must be scientific thinkers, prepared to innovate and collaborate to take on complex issues. Early sparks at Chabot help create a passion for science and problem solving, and they have a lasting effect on students and their educational experience. When schools, science centers, and community-based organizations work together, they form an interconnected learning ecosystem that can much more successfully inspire students to be lifelong learners and explorers. So please, I urge you to join me in celebrating Chabot's successes and obtaining new funding. Your support will help enable Chabot to continue its noble mission of providing exciting and important STEM education from early childhood through adulthood. Thank you very much, and take care.
Thanks so much, Alex, for sharing the importance of science in today's world. It means so much, and it's such an honor to get to work with you. Chabot's programs have a significant role and a ripple effect throughout our community, creating generations of lifelong learners. Chabot sparks curiosity in learners of all ages, with meaningful moments of thrilling STEM education. Over the years, Chabot has sparked curiosity for thousands of school children who visit here for regular field trips. Did you know that over 50,000 children come here for field trips every year? And some of them take part in some of our outreach programs throughout the community. Now who's ready for some science? I know you've been sitting there, you've been waiting for a little while, now it's your time. We're joined here tonight with Haley, one of our incredible science educators, who's going to share a special experiment for us to learn together. Here we go.
In order to make these rockets at home, you're going to need a few different materials that you might be able to find. Those materials include balloons, any size or shape, or you can get a mix of sizes and shapes and try different ones. String. You're going to want enough string that you can reach from one wall to another in your room, in your house, or in the place that you're at. Tape, enough tape to go around. Straws, enough for everyone in your group to have at least one straw. Something to fill your balloons with if you need it, like an air pump. Scissors, cutting, scratch paper that you may be able to use to cut up, markers, crayons, or any other drawing utensils that you may want to use. Now, once you have all your materials together, because what we're going to make today are balloon rockets. We're going to use the concept of thrust, and we're going to make some rockets of our own that can go from one side of our room to the other. We're going to test out to see if we can change the way our rocket flies based on how much fuel we use, the shape of our rocket, the way we put our fins and our nose cone on our rocket. We may even be able to design things like second or third stages onto your balloon rockets. Now, this is all going to be looking into the concept of thrust and aerodynamics, and it's a super easy way to do it. So follow along with these steps, and we're going to make some awesome balloon rockets. The first step in our balloon rocket activity is to determine your mission pathway, where your balloon was going to start and where its destination is. What that means is you want to take your string and you want to determine where you're going to put your string in your room. And you want to tape one end to one wall and one end on the other wall. This is going to determine the pathway or the flight path of your rocket as it goes from one place to the other during launch. Once you've figured out where your string is going to end, you can cut it. And on this end, you're going to take one of your straws and slide it over. This part can be kind of tricky, but you want to put your straw over your string or your string through your straw and find a way to guide it through. So what you end up with is your string, one side is taped to the far wall, and then you have your straw through your string on the other side. This is going to be what we're going to attach our balloon rockets to, and it's how it's going to slide easily from one way to the other. Now you want to select your balloon, and you can do different size balloons or different shaped balloons, but for now, pick your balloon. This is going to be your rocket. Just like in the beginning, we need to fill our rocket with fuel, and in this case, our fuel is air. You can use your mouth to add air, or you can use a pump like me. Once your balloon is filled with air, you can try to find a way to tie it off. You can use something like a clip if you need to, or you can use your hands to hang onto it, or a string, or do a light tie. So now you have your rocket and it's filled with fuel. But in order to get it to fly, we might need to add some other things. Remember how rockets have different pieces and parts. So now it's up to you. You can design your rocket how you want. You can use your paper and cut out pieces of paper to add fins onto your rocket. You can decide how many fins you want to add. You can also add a nose cone if you'd like to. And I want you to think about, while you're designing your rocket, the way it's going to fly. So depending on its shape and depending on how much fuel it has, which direction do you think it's going to fly when you let it go? How do you think it's going to fly when it's attached to this string, which is your pathway of your rocket ship? So consider the ways that it may or may not be aerodynamic as your fuel is pushing your rocket towards your destination. But for now, take a minute and decide and design the fins or nose cone or even the coloration on your rocket. This is up for you to personalize and make it your own. Now that you're done designing your very own balloon rocket, now you have to get it ready by putting it on the launch pad. So to do that, you're going to find the straw that you attach to your string, and you're going to decide where to attach it to your rocket. Now this is also up to you. You can decide if you want to attach it closer towards the back, the middle, or the front, which can all have an effect on how it flies. So this is up to you to explore how it's going to fly depending on where you attach it. But for now, you can attach it to your rocket by holding it up against it and then taking tape and just placing it gently over the top. If you want to reuse your rocket, make sure to put this tape on gently, because when you pull it off later, it can lead to holes in your balloon. So just a gentle stick is all you need. Once you have your rocket ready to go on its launch pad, pointing in the right direction of its destination for its mission, now's a great time to test it. So you can either, if you had your rocket pinched, you can let go of the clip, or if you were holding it closed this whole time, you can gently untie it and you can watch how your rocket flies. Now pay close attention of how it flies, because it's going to be up to you to figure out what you could do differently to make it fly faster, smoother, or the way you'd like for it to fly in general. So let's see how I did with my rocket launch. We're ready. Let's do this. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, we did not reach our destination. We only got about halfway. So our rocket almost made it all the way to the destination, which was the end of the wall. It got caught right about here. Oh, there it goes. So now it's time to take part in the engineering process. You've already made one design of a rocket, and you've already tested it once. But what can you do differently? Take a minute and think or discuss with your group. What are some things that worked on your rocket design, and what are some things that could be improved? Were you happy with the way you designed your nose cone? Or what about your fins? Could you add more fins or less fins? Could you make your nose cone better? How else could you tape your balloon to your straw to get it to fly faster, smoother, or all the way to your destination? Could you use a different shaped balloon instead of the one that you used? These are some really good questions to ask yourself while you go back through and try to improve your rocket design. Go ahead and take a few minutes and work with your group or work by yourself to improve your rocket design so that it can fly more like the way you were hoping that it did. And now we look at what could be improved and what worked well and rest again. Once you've made any improvements to your rockets that you would like to make, you can set it back up onto your launch pad, your straw, and launch them again. If you have a large group doing this activity, you can set up multiple strings at a time so you can have multiple rocket launches happening at once. You can have races, you can have teams work together to build their rockets. And basically, you can continue doing this process of designing, testing, redesigning, and retesting as many times as you'd like to. In the end, all you're working with is the concept of thrust and aerodynamics when designing your rockets. And you can use some of the information that you learned in the beginning of this video to help you make some good choices about how you make your design. And we're ready to launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woohoo! We made it all the way to our destination. Look at that, just a little bit of tweaks here and there, and we can make our rockets fly all the way to where they need to go, out into space. Once you're done doing your hands-on activity of making balloon rockets, you can have a quick discussion to talk about the engineering process. What kind of designs worked well, and what kind of designs could be improved? You can also discuss the similarities and the differences between the rockets that you built today and the rockets that have actually been launched to space, because they are very different things, even though they are showing similar concepts. We hope that you had lots of fun joining us here at Chabot Space Science Center. We always encourage you to have fun with learning, and hopefully you learned a few things today. Now, we'll see you next time when we're ready to blast off again.
Oh, I love that activity. The 5-year-old in me really loves a good balloon noised rocket. Yeah, never gets old. Thank you, Haley, for bringing us some exciting science tonight and for her amazing virtual science demo series that have been happening. What did you learn out there? What did you learn about thrust and some other stuff? Let us know. Comment, please. I know I learned a lot. Right now, I really want to take a moment to give out some shout outs to some awesome people that have tuned in on Zoom. This is how I want to do it. Since we just did a rocket activity, I'm going to teach you a rocket clap. What does that mean? So I'm going to name off the people, There is 1, 2, 3, 4 people that we want to shout out right now. After I get done with the 4th one, what we're going to do is all together clap. And this is our rocket. And then we're going to go, hooray! Thumbs up if you got it. All right, so there's going to be 4 names. Ready? After 4, we're going to clap. We're going to blast off. Hooray! Are you ready? All right, shout out to Jill Nolan, Julie Moore, Amaya Papali, and Erica Crawford. Ready? Clap. Hooray! Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. That activity, not my activity was pretty fun. The activity we just saw with Haley is a small taste of STEM education here at the center, and a taste of what we've been doing virtually. While we are not open for general admission, our team, along with Haley, has been bringing science to life 3 times a week this summer. Erica, I know you've been on a lot of them. Many of you may tuned in for live science shows on Tuesdays, our virtual telescope viewings, which are on Saturdays, which is like, if you haven't seen it, it's amazing what they've figured out. How to televise just live viewings. And our dynamic lineup of live Friday night programming by one of my favorites, Jessica, who's behind the scenes right now, producing all of this amazing stuff. We're really learning really fast to bring really awesome content to you. These programs are all powered by you, our community, our members, our donors, our board, everyone that's just showing us so much love during this time. You have had a great time learning with us and experimenting with us. Help us to continue our science programs for all by making a donation tonight. Speaking of donations, are you ready to hear where we're at? Since the beginning of the night? Remember, all donations to the end of the month help us reach that match. And right now we are at, are you ready? 3510. Wow, it's really growing throughout the night. Thank you everyone for leaning in. It is really amazing. Remember, donation of 250 supports what we're doing throughout the center, not only virtually, but what we can create for you once we reopen. Yes, so please help us take advantage of that. And another way to take advantage is this. If you haven't tried it yet, get ready for the next flash. Lisa, tell us about the next flash.
All right. We're doing great so far. Congratulations for everybody who's given tonight. We really appreciate it. Think about all the teachers that are struggling right now, providing virtual programs from their homes to students, and virtual field trips would help them out a lot to help them cover some of the programs that they're doing. $10,000 tonight would help us provide live science shows for thousands of our local school students the entire semester. This virtual field trip experience provides live interaction between science educators and students and uses exciting demonstrations like explosions to inspire learners. Help us make a difference tonight for fun for all ages. We're putting the timer on the clock again. Get ready. We're going to count down 30 seconds for you to donate from home. Make a difference in less than a minute. Get ready. I know you've been sitting there for a little while. It's time to stretch. Stretch your wallets, stretch your limbs. Get ready. When you support STEM education, your money goes far. It goes out into the community and inspires the next minds that could possibly be the next astronaut to go to Mars. You never know. Are you ready to donate? All right, let's get ready to support STEM with the countdown. We're gonna make a difference here. A flash donation in 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. And we're back. Wow, that was so fast. You guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much. You are fantastic. Let's keep it going, folks. Let's keep it going. We got a ways to go. We're really grateful for your support and your generosity and the community support that you're providing tonight. Remember that you can also support by bidding on our virtual silent auction. Look for the list in the description of our event. If you enjoyed our experiment with Haley, you can bid on a package to have your own quarantine birthday party with a virtual science show for your friends and family. That's a blast. The silent auction also includes incredible once-in-a-lifetime experiences like private telescope viewing, astrophotography lessons, or a custom planetary show. And don't forget my all-time favorite, the hike and sip with yours truly. If you want a sample of what's that like, tune in next weekend. We're going to have 3 featured drink recipes just for adults. So you could book a private session for 10 or more people at sunset, where we will explore the parks and wait for the stars to arise and tell some of the stories. Take a second, open another tab, look at the opportunities, and get ready to give. Eric, what are you up to?
Well, I'm sitting in the capsule that is now getting renovated and cleaned up. I want to share something with you all. Turn up your volume if you can. Are you ready? My favorite thing about the capsule. Here it goes. Can you hear that? That is the sound of these amazing toggle switches that are so satisfying to, I miss seeing the kids just toggling them. And now I know why. Anyway, we want to give a big welcome to folks that are just tuning in. Tonight we are celebrating our 137th birthday and our 20th anniversary on Skyline Boulevard. Man, can you believe it's 137 years? Let's dive into a captivating story of this Oakland's oldest institution with our, not oldest, one of the oldest institutions, with our staff astronomer, one of my faves, Ben Burris. Take it away, Ben.
Good evening. I'm Ben Burris, and I'm here to give you a little presentation about, a brief presentation about the history of Chabot Observatory from 1883, well, earlier than 1883 onward. So hope you enjoy this, and I hope it's inspirational to you. Let's get into it. So, it all began in the late 1870s, and Superintendent of Oakland Schools, Jewett Gilson, went and visited a school for boys in Philadelphia. This school had its own rooftop observatory, and as the story goes, Superintendent Gilson saw that and said, Oakland has to have one of these. So he looked around for someone to actually pay for it, next step in the chain, and that led him to Anthony Chabot. So Anthony Chabot was a Canadian-born, well-to-do engineer and philanthropist, and he had built his fortune building the water systems around the Bay Area, actually, San Francisco, San Jose, up to Vallejo, and in Oakland, including Lake Chabot, Lake Temescal, and many others. In fact, his company, the Contra Costa Water Company, would eventually become East Bay Municipal Utility District. Chabot was not an amateur astronomer, but he was a philanthropist, and he had a number of donor recipients, and the Oakland Public Schools was one of them. By the way, that is Anthony Chabot. Sorry, I forgot to click the button, but this is a PowerPoint. Anyway, so with his donation of $3,000, a lot of money at the time, the first Oakland Observatory was built in 1883 in downtown Oakland at Lafayette Square. Right now, there's still a park there, Lafayette Square, you can go and enjoy. It's between 10th and 11th Street and Jefferson and Martin Luther King Boulevard. So if you want to see where it all began, the original building is not there anymore, but you can enjoy the park. And maybe you can spot the observatory in this picture. You're looking west from the then Masonic Temple. The wide street to the right is 12th Street. If you kind of look over on the left, kind of in the middle, up and down, you'll see this funny little tower. That's the original Chabot Observatory in downtown Oakland at Lafayette Square. Here's a closer up view, kind of looking northwest. You can see the tower and dome for the original 8-inch refracting telescope. Anthony Chabot is actually kind of a humble man. He didn't want the observatory named after him. So while he was alive, it was called the Oakland Observatory. But after he died in 1888, there was a public opinion sort of forced a change of name to the Chabot Observatory. And the name Chabot has been associated with it to this day. The building was also nicknamed the mucilage bottle because of its appearance. That was sort of the popular sentiment, but it was a funny little building, just big enough to house the 8-inch telescope upstairs. Now, a couple of years after they built, they decided they needed somebody to run the place. So they actually hired 3 people as staff for the observatory, one of which was Charles Burkhalter, who eventually became a longtime operator and director of the first and second Chabot observatories. That's a picture of Burkhalter over on the left, looking through the 8-inch telescope that we all know as Leah today, in the original Lafayette Square location. So back then, as it is today, telescope viewing was free. This is because that's how Anthony Chabot stipulated his donation. He said, the telescope shall be forever open, free to the public and to the students of Oakland. And that's a tradition that we carry on to today, through 137 years of history here. Back then, however, they could only accommodate 10 to 12 people per evening, and reservations were usually obtained a whole month in advance. So it was not as much push through as there is now, but people got to look through the telescope, and that was what they loved. So a few years later, in 1892, they renovated the original. This is a picture of some added classrooms, reception foyer, and a workshop. They even rebuilt the dome for the 8-inch telescope to make it easier to access. You know, the original dome, people had to climb this rickety staircase and enter the room through a kind of a hatch in the floor. It became a little easier for the public to get to with the renovations. However, all good things come to an end. The first observatory had to move eventually, and the reason was city light. It's a problem we have today. Up until the early 1900s, the lighting in Oakland, the street lights and whatnot, were gas powered. So there was a gas light company, which Anthony Chabot was actually the president of for some time. And so gas lights lit the streets of Oakland. But when lighting became electrified and city light pollution became a problem, it became less and less useful to look through the telescope in downtown Oakland. In fact, the picture on the right is the City Hall. You may recognize that. That's the City Hall building today, but back in the very early 1900s, this was, as Charles Burkhalter put it, the last straw. That really bright beacon on top of the building, he said was infamous to him, and that's really what forced the first relocation of Chabot Observatory. So they went looking for a new site to start building in 1915. One of these, they surveyed several sites actually, but they chose one about several miles outside of town, on a little hill surrounded by higher hills. So it was actually kind of shielded from the city lights by the surrounding hills. And Charles Burkhalter said judicious planting of trees would also help shield it from city lights. This is at the location now where highways 13 and 580 intersect. So you can still see the old domes up there. The buildings are boarded up, but they're still there. The telescopes have been moved to the current site, but for decades, the 8-inch and then the 20-inch telescope, which was added when they built this site in 1915, served there for many decades, and the mission continued. Charles Burkhalter was the director to his dying day, literally. In 1923, he passed away, but not before handing the keys over to Earl Lindsley. As the story goes, he told Lindsley, never give these keys up, don't let anyone take them. There had been times when the observatory's closure was a threat, and I know that Charles Burkhalter fought on more than one occasion to keep that from happening. Errol Lindsley was a professor of geography at Mills College, which is kind of a short walk from the second Chabot Observatory site. So it wasn't too difficult for him to take over as director and continue teaching at Mills. But he was a professional educator, and he expanded the observatory's education programs considerably. He did a lot of outreach to schools and public places, and he brought in a lot of people to the observatory to teach about astronomy and science and such. He also kicked off what was then called the East Bay Amateur Astronomical Association. Today is the East Bay Astronomical Society, a volunteer organization of astronomy enthusiasts. He drew them together the year that he became director of Chabot, and by 1924, kicked off the amateur group, and they've been running ever since, up to the present day. Skipping ahead a few decades here, this is the era that I remember growing up. Kingsley Whiteman became the third director of Chabot, and he was known very famously around Oakland and the general area as sort of the Mr. Science in the lab coat. So people would come up to Chabot, usually on Friday nights, be entertained and educated with a science or space demonstration or lecture or slides and movies, head up to the planetarium for a show, and then go across the parking lot to look at the sky through the telescopes. So Kingsley Whiteman is the one I remember, but I'm not old enough to remember the others. Anyway, thankfully. Again, all good things have to come to an end. The second Chabot Observatory was forced to move, not because of light pollution, but because of the Hayward earthquake fault. As it turns out, the most dangerous tectonic fault in the Bay Area, Hayward Fault, runs practically within a stone's throw of the second observatory site. In fact, if you have driven up and down Highway 13, you have driven up and down the Hayward earthquake fault. Something about these valleys that the earthquake faults create make it easy to make freeways on. So they were faced with either having to spend a lot of money to retrofit the observatory buildings or move to a new place. They could no longer legally let school groups come in, and schools were, of course, one of the driving missions of Chabot, schools and students. So either they had to retrofit or move, and it was decided to move. Again, they looked at several different prospect sites for the relocation. And the one they settled on, which is where I'm sitting right now with historical 8-inch telescope Leah behind me. This was actually one of the sites they considered for the 1915 relocation. So sort of a coming back in time, going forward kind of a situation. Anyway. And here we are today. So we're on the crest of the Oakland Hills near Redwood Peak, the highest point in Oakland. And maybe not the best place for an observatory, but it's the best place in Oakland for one. We're straddling the county border, 1,500 feet elevation, can't get any higher than where Chabot is now. And on a good foggy night when fog blankets the Bay Area below, sometimes we get a beautiful dark sky because the fog is keeping the city light from coming up. Well, thank you very much. I hope I haven't babbled on too much, but that is a brief history of Chabot Observatory. Some people don't know that it goes back that far, but there have been several eras of Chabot, and it's actually been a privilege to be part of one of them. So thank you very much.
Whoa, interesting stuff. I never knew that. I learned so much about that. One of the images in there with the lightning striking the tower, you know, hearts going out to everybody affected by fires right now, and amongst everything else that's going on. So we're with you there. One interesting tidbit that I like to share about Chabot that's not space and science is his work with his water company. One of my favorite things to do here in the East Bay is to go fishing. And one of my favorite lakes right down the hill from here, Lake Temescal, was built by Anthony Chabot by building the dam over there and creating Lake Temescal, as well as Lake Chabot, which is another place I like to go fishing. Anyway, what did you all learn? Thanks for all the memories that have been coming in as well. That's really awesome. Cheryl, love you. Chabot has been serving the community of Oakland since 1883. Wow. This is a challenging moment in our long history, and we need the support of our community to face the financial challenges of this time. Wow. As we face the impact of this worldwide pandemic, we are brought together by love for science. Before we start our next round of trivia, please consider making that proud moment and giving us a donation of whatever you can to help out the center get through this. Thanks for everyone that's been leaning in today. And since this all started back in March, thank you very much. Your generosity makes our STEM work possible to continue tonight and beyond. Sharon, whoa, just got some numbers back from our last share. We are at tonight. Are you ready for it? My own little drum roll. You like that? The silent drum roll? It's so silent. $5,000 and $67. So $5,067. Good job, people. Thank you very much. This is awesome. Now, let's get into some trivia. Who's tallying up scores if you're sitting with anybody? So now that we've learned more from Ben, I know I'm excited to see how you do. Leave your guesses in the comments, and we are watching along to see how everyone's doing. Are you ready for trivia? Let's go. All right. Question number 2 or 3. Okay. Who among the following has not come to Chabot Space and Science Center? Number 1, former President Bill Clinton. Number 2, physicist Stephen Hawking. Number 3, William Shatner, the actor. Number 4, Charles Towns, inventor of the laser. Number 5, Mae Jemison, astronaut. Give you some time to put it in. I see, no, some good guesses coming in. Well, I really hope it's William Shatner, just because it's awesome. Ooh, look at that. All right, we're coming in, a lot of them. And the answer is number 1, Bill Clinton, former president of the United States. All right, I think who's ready for another one? Who's ready for another one? Here we go. In 1999, a time capsule was assembled and sealed and hidden away at Chabot Space and Science Center. Where is this capsule? Under the planetarium? In the secret pyramid room? Under the Meridian Transit Telescope room? A, has anyone been in the room? And has anyone seen the pyramid room? Ooh. Number 3, inside the concrete pier that the telescope Rachel rests upon. Or number 4, at the bottom of the turtle pond. Let's see. Put your guesses in there. Let's see, pyramid room, Rachel, pyramid room, Rachel, planetarium. All right, and the answer is now sealed beneath the concrete pad under the planetarium. All right, how'd y'all do out there? Good, good, thumbs up, no, down, down, up, no, down, down, now. All right, anyway, thanks for playing. I think we have a couple more coming up. How'd you do? I saw some great answers. The first time I took a look through our telescopes was through the lens of Nellie. And that was awesome. That was the first time I saw the rings of Saturn. And when, you know, all those dots you look at in the sky now had rings around those dots in the sky. It's pretty cool. If you enjoyed learning about Nellie, our most powerful telescope, stay tuned till the end of our virtual telescope viewing. Seems like things are holding good. You all know about our telescope viewing nights. So fingers crossed, smoke is low, and all that. Explore the galaxy with our astronomers as we take a look through the telescopes together. Now, let's talk about exploring the galaxy. Take it away, Lisa.
Thanks, Eric. Speaking of the galaxy, I'm excited to introduce one of our former galaxy explorers, one of my former students, Sophie Lee. She was part of this program for 4 years straight. She holds one of the records for the most community service hours in the entire program. The Galaxy Explorer program offers teens hands-on, real-life, transferable job skills in STEM. They learn content, they then apply it on the museum floor with visitors, with children. They have that great cool factor with working with young people, unlike us adults. They do service beyond the walls here. They go out and do outreach programs to centers like the Boys and Girls Clubs and Oakland Public Libraries. They receive career training and workshops and public speaking. The opportunities go on and on. They're able to specialize in special interest teams where they're able to specialize in areas of astronomy or rocketry or environmental science or science communication. They're able to, many of them have gone on to careers themselves in STEM, and many of them have become science educators. There have been thousands, hundreds of them in the program since inception. Any Galaxy Explorers working tonight? Any watching tonight? Let's take the roll. If you're out there watching us, let's give us a shout out in the comments to see if you're there.
My name is Sophie Lee. I'm currently a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellow getting my PhD in chemical engineering, and I was a Galaxy Explorer from 2003 through 2008. Chabot was instrumental in shaping who I am today, and I do not know if I could pick just one memory. I visited Chabot a number of times before I was old enough to volunteer. I remember visiting Chabot for the first time in 2001 and looking through the telescopes, getting to see Venus. This opportunity cemented an already growing love for science, astronomy, and the universe. I remember 3 years later, becoming a volunteer and learning to rebuild telescopes with the Galaxy Explorers and the East Bay Astronomical Society, and then getting to help visitors look through telescopes during free public observing. Chabot was also the first place I learned about renewable energy. Seeing buses powered by fuel cells and building solar-powered cars helped shape my career and led me to become a research engineer.
Thanks so much, Sophie. It's so great to hear from you, and we're so excited that we are part of your story. You may not know that it's also the 20th anniversary of the naming of the Galaxy Explorer program that we adopted when we moved into this location. Over the last 20 years, thousands of students across the Bay Area have done their community service through hands-on learning right here in these walls. These teens bring science to everyday life in the center by introducing visitors to concepts in STEM through demonstrations by serving as ambassadors of Chabot. When you support the center tonight, you help us support these young innovators by providing uplifting workshops with leaders in STEM fields and opportunities for team projects. A gift of $1,000 tonight can support enrichment lectures for our teen explorers. When you make that $1,000 donation, you also join our Stellar Society Community Science of Supporters. Please consider making a donation right now to help us continue offer support, community and enrichment to Oakland and Bay Area high school students in our Galaxy Explorers program who are starting school virtually this year. Eric, back to you.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. And thanks, Sophie, for all your leadership and just all your inspiration. One of the things that keeps me hopeful and inspired through such a crazy time is seeing and experiencing great leadership. And next up tonight, I'm excited to introduce you to Adam Tobin, our Executive Director, who during this time has been leading the senior staff here in amazing ways, making some hard decisions, but also doing it with some great candor and humor. So without further ado, let me pass it on to you, Adam. Take it over.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks so much for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight in such extraordinary times as we celebrate our 20th anniversary at our Skyline campus, nestled up here in the Redwoods. And as you've heard tonight, that is only the latest chapter in our 137-year legacy of science education and inspiring kids and adults of all ages about the wonders of the universe in which we live. These are clearly very challenging times for all of us, challenging for us here at Chabot. And as we stand here tonight in our Science Center that is usually so full of joy and wonder and curiosity and laughter and excitement, we miss you. We miss having you here in our center. And yet at the same time, our work continues. We have been very busy. As you've heard tonight, our team has been doing an extraordinary job in partnership with our volunteers and our community partners, taking our educational experiences and finding creative ways of bringing them to kids across Oakland, across the East Bay, and across the Bay Area. We've also taken this as an opportunity to create new programs. So we have created online live science demos, virtual workshops. We've created kits that we have distributed to our community-based organization partners across Oakland, including the Boys and Girls Club and libraries, as part of our Learning Everywhere initiative, where we take so much of what we do and bring it to the community in partnership with the community. We've also been continuing our youth development programs, finding new ways of engaging our teens, our middle schoolers and our high schoolers in science-based learning projects, even as we figure out how to do that in a virtual setting. Our telescopes, as you've heard, every Saturday night, we have been broadcasting from our powerful telescopes and providing new ways of providing access to communities across Oakland and beyond. And though nothing will take the place in many ways of the naked eye looking through a telescope, we are finding ways of continuing to bring impact in new and exciting ways. And even though we have yet to reopen our museum, we are taking this as an opportunity to create new and exciting exhibits, on-floor educational programs. So when we do reopen, there will be something exciting to welcome you all back. We miss you and we cannot wait till you're back in our center. Now, it is hard. It is hard, I believe, to overstate, to overemphasize the challenging times that we're in right now. And it's hard to overstate the need that is out there in so many different ways, in so many different places. We all have a lot of work to do in front of us. And yet at the same time, I can think of no greater force for positive change, no greater force for lasting impact than that of education, and that of science education in particular. You've already heard it said so eloquently tonight, the importance of science and science education. Yes, it leads to innovation. Yes, it leads to workforce development. It also creates a way of looking at the universe. It also creates a critical way of thinking. It also creates empowerment. It also creates a way of ensuring that we are an informed citizenry. I can't imagine anything more important than that at this moment. And as I think about that, and I think about the power, I also think about the hope that science provides, the joy, the wonder, the optimism. And in this moment, as I was thinking about exactly what I might say, how I might try and capture that, I wrestled with the scale of it. And then I remembered a quote, a passage, if you will, that I think captures it better than I possibly could. It is 40 years old, though I believe it is as relevant today, if not more, than it ever has been. And some of you who are friends and fans of Chabot and astronomy will recognize this quote, this from Carl Sagan from 40 years ago, if you'll indulge me. The cosmos is all that is, or was, or ever will be. Our contemplations of the cosmos stir us. There's a tingling in the spine, a catch in the voice, a faint sensation as if a distant memory of falling from a great height. We know we are approaching the grandest of mysteries. For the first time, we have the power to decide the fate of our planet and ourselves. This is a time of great danger, but our species is young and curious and brave. It shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries about the cosmos and our place within it. I believe our future depends powerfully on how well we understand this cosmos in which we float like a mote of dust in the morning sky. We wish to pursue the truth, no matter where it leads. But to find the truth, we need imagination and skepticism both. We will not be afraid to speculate, but we will be careful to distinguish speculation from fact. The cosmos is full beyond measure of elegant truths, of exquisite interrelationships, of the awesome machinery of nature. The surface of the Earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. On this shore, we have learned most of what we know. Recently, we have waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water seems inviting. Some part of our being knows that this is where we came from. We long to return, and we can, because the cosmos is also within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Now, earlier someone said we are born scientists. I believe that to be true. We are scientists in the crib. We are born curious. We are born full of joy and wonder. We are born with a sense of discovery. And I believe that science education is not only the key to the challenges we face today, I believe it is a key to our future. I believe it not only provides us with the tools, the insights, the mechanism, a way of being, a way of communicating, a way of thinking that is steeped in fact, it also provides us that joy and wonder and that sense of confidence that we do have within us the ability to understand. We do have within us the ability to know our universe from which we came. That is our mission at Chabot Space and Science Center. Your support empowers us to help build that informed citizenry, to help find that hope and optimism and curious in our kids, in ourselves, for this moment that we're in, and for our future. I wish you all safety, health, be well. Thank you so much for your support. Ad Astra.
Wow, thanks, Adam. That was incredible. You really speak to the heart of what we're working for tonight. Want to give you a brief update on our totals. So far, we've raised $5,337. Thank you so much, everybody. Woohoo, let's keep it going. The night is still young. I'd like to introduce my second co-host. He's been waiting in the wings to join us this evening. Fritz, are you out there? Fritz?
So it's nice to meet you. Yeah. Seems as
Oh, you sound pretty good to me. Fritz, I was wondering, do you have a favorite memory at Chabot?
well, yes, Lisa. I do. I have many memories. My favorite is meeting with the simple humans.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're working really hard behind the scenes, keeping everything going tonight.
Yeah, it's going and change which out to all of us through just hold water. This food and about them through partners.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us and keep up the great work.
You do so.
Remember tonight, your donation goes twice as far this month. All donations up to $50,000 will be matched by a group of generous board members. Please consider making a donation right now to help make science education engaging and accessible for everyone. Click on the donation links at the bottom of the video, or if you're joining us on Facebook, you can donate with the button below. We also invite you to participate in our online auction. To bid on prints of our Luminous Moon exhibition or a one-of-a-kind experience like private telescope viewing with our astronomers, private VIP dinner in the planetarium show, a hike and sip with yours truly in the Redwood Forest, and so much more. This online auction will run through the end of the month, through August 31st. So you can keep bidding through the month. Now, Eric, what have you been up to?
I've been finding more spots to show because I know a lot of people have been missing being here at Chabot. So the awesome light sculpture hanging over the rotunda. Hello, everyone, again. I'm here in the rotunda, top floor. Please take advantage or help us take advantage of all that money on the table from our generous board. You know, if you can't make it tonight, you have till the end of the month. Please help us get that matched. It's really important to us. In a bit, we'll hear from Bill Bruner, CEO of New Frontier Aerospace, and one of our awesome Chabot members, board members. You also want to stick around to see Apollo 9 astronaut Rusty Schweickart. But first, up next, we will hear from one of our longtime volunteers, Rick Taft. We can't have a party without volunteers. In fact, I saw some people out there. Shelly, your bread lane you gave me is working overtime. I've been making like 2 loaves every week. It's insane. I can't believe how much bread I'm making. Leslie, wow, I just can't enough. John spoke to you today, even though you moved away, still leaning in. Thanks for the donation. And Kathy, thanks for sharing that awesome story about your dad. And thanks for taking time on the phone with me today. Anyway, thank you for our passionate community that is committed to bringing our visitors the best experience possible, serving as telescope operators, classroom assistants, flight commanders in our Challenger Learning Center. Man, the Challenger Learning Center, can't wait to open that back up, and so much more. Each year, our dedicated volunteers contribute over 16,000 hours of time here at the center to help us. And now even more, still leaning in from home. Thank you so much. That help us make STEM education accessible for all. Thank you. I'm so humbled by you, all your time and all your energy. All right, let's hear from Rick.
Hi, my name is Rick Taft, and I'm a volunteer here at Chabot Space and Science Center. I've been a volunteer here since 2015. And as a matter of fact, just a real brief recap, I was going to retire that year, and I actually did retire that year. And knowing that I'd have a lot of time on my hands as a retiree, I decided to investigate the volunteer opportunities here at Chabot. I attended a volunteer orientation meeting and walked through the entire center and up here to the observatory deck. And I was smitten by these three wonderful telescopes. And right then and there, I decided I wanted to be a volunteer and work with the telescopes. So I started training in 2015, and I worked here on the observatory deck. And 2016, I was able to get into one of Conrad Jung's telescope operator training classes. And that started me on a road to a wonderful retirement as a volunteer telescope operator here at Chabot. The first telescope I learned on was, of course, Leia, our 8-inch refractor. And after working with other volunteers and my mentor on Leia, I stepped up to Rachel, and Rachel is our 20-inch refractor. And still having the time of my life, I decided to go one step further, and now I'm a telescope operator on Nellie in the back here, and Nellie's our 36-inch reflecting telescope. So wonderful opportunities for personal growth here at Chabot. One of the things I really enjoy is working with the public, especially on our Friday and Saturday night viewing sessions, which are curtailed now, but hopefully we'll be back on the calendar next year. But I love working with the public. There's just no, I never get tired of hearing the exclamation, the joy when people look through the eyepiece of Rachel, our 20-inch refractor, at something like M13, a globular cluster, and it's the oh my gods and oh my's. It's heartwarming for me and very enjoyable for our patrons. But I think what I get a lot more joy out of are working with the kids, the school groups on Wednesday mornings. That's my day here at Chabot, and I'm normally here in Rachel's dome. And what I really try to do is get every kid up to the eyepiece to give them an opportunity to see something during the daytime. A lot of people may not know this, but you can view the moon and you can view the planets, Mercury and Venus, during daylight hours. So we like to expose our kids to that in the hopes that maybe they'll choose to go into science and technology for their education. But so many wonderful memories here. Just to kind of wrap this up, probably my most favorite memory is right in back of me there in Nellie, when for the first time I was working with Conrad Jung. I should say Conrad was working with me, mentoring me on the art of astrophotography with Nellie. And the first image I took through that telescope still awes me to this day, and that was the Whirlpool Galaxy M51. Just many, many wonderful memories, too numerous to really count them all. And that's about all I have to say, and come be a volunteer.
Thank you, Rick, for those heartwarming words of service to the community. We really appreciate all that you do for our public here. If you experience a moment with a volunteer here at Chabot that made your visit, would you drop us a line and leave us a chat? And if there's some volunteers online tonight with us, let's give us a shout out. Let us know that you're there. All right. So Rich mentioned the influence our astronomer Conrad Jung made in his volunteer experience. And I'd like to stop for a moment and dedicate this moment to Conrad, who's not with us this evening. He is the example of the Chabot success story. He started as a middle school volunteer and became a published and renowned astronomer. Conrad, we miss you and get well soon. Eric, back to you.
Hello, everyone. Yes, Conrad is really, really missed. One of my favorites for sure. Always willing and patient of just, giving you as much as you can to really learn about the sky and what's going on up in space and everything. Really, really miss him. And it's that time that everyone was waiting for, our final round of trivia. Woo! Oh, sorry, I'm getting carried away. It's time for the final round of trivia. All right, are you ready? Here we go. And slide, please. Chabot's 36-inch reflecting telescope, Nellie, is named for 1, Cornelia Everton, an avid amateur astronomer who lived in Oakland in the early 20th century. Number 2, the daughter and grandmother of Merrill Martin, whose donation made the building of the telescope possible. Number 3, the youngest of 3 sisters, the other 2 being Leah and Rachel, who Chabot's 2 older telescopes were named for. Send in those chats. All right, ready? See it coming. Here it comes. The answer is number 2. Good job, people. Merrill and Lillian Martin donated a large chunk of change for the building of the 36-inch telescope and its observatory building, and given the naming honor. That was pretty cool. All right, this is the final question. Which of the following never happened at Chabot Space and Science Center? Number 1, over 2,000 visitors were turned away one night who had come to see the planet Mars through the telescopes. Number 2, the space shuttle Endeavour was seen flying through the skies from Chabot. Or number 3, Kirby Chabot, descendant of Anthony Chabot, attended the groundbreaking ceremony. Ooh, I see a lot. And any guesses are still coming in. Give you 2 more seconds. And the answer is number 3. Chabot Space and Science Center has been visited by descendants of Anthony Chabot. Kirby is a fictional character created for the space, time, and outdoor exhibit playground, which was never here. All right. Now, that was fantastic. Thanks for playing, everyone. Also, thanks for everyone staying out there for this fundraising for STEM tonight and our Star Spectacular anniversary party. That was impressive. Chabot is making in the community, serving that many curious folks every year. So thank you. All right, Lisa, up next. What's up?
All right, let's give an update on our numbers so far. Drum roll, please. We're at $6,537. You guys rock. Virtual high five, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to give some more shout outs. I see some former colleagues out there, some former employees. Everybody chime in. This is your moment. Let's say hello. Let's touch base. Phone a friend. Up next, we're excited to introduce Bill Bruner, CEO of New Frontier Aerospace and a Chabot board member. New Frontier Aerospace is a technology development and consulting company in Livermore. NFA is developing a range of applied technologies for aerospace, space, and energy markets. From 2009 to present, Bill has been at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, where he is now the senior advisor to the lab's space science security program. From 2007 to 2009, Bill was the assistant administrator for the legislative and intergovernmental affairs at NASA. Under Bill's leadership, his team directed all of NASA's relations with the U.S. Congress, governors, state legislators, and local governments. Prior to joining NASA, Bill had the distinguished career in the United States Air Force, from which he retired as colonel. Among his decorations is the Bronze Star, awarded for science in the First Gulf War. He then served in several key positions in Washington, among them as a space and air power expert on the staff of the Secretary of the Air Force, as a military fellow in the Office of the Speaker of the House of U.S. Representatives, and as an office director within the Office Secretary of Defense, where he won the Assistant Secretary of Defense Paul H. Nyes Award for Excellence in International Security Affairs. Bill is a graduate of the National War College, the Air Force Fighter Weapons School, and the Air Force School of Advanced Air and Space Power Studies, where his thesis topic was National Security Implications and Inexpensive Space Access. He has earned his master's degree with distinction in National Security Strategy and Air Power Arts and Sciences. His bachelor's degree in Physical Science, Astronomy, is from the San Francisco State University. Take it away, Bill.
Hello, my name is Bill Bruner, and I'm a member of the Foundation Board at Chabot Space and Science Center. I'm a retired Air Force colonel, a former senior official at NASA, and I now work at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. But a little over 50 years ago, I was a sixth grader at Redwood Heights Elementary in Oakland on a field trip to the old Chabot Space and Science Center on Mountain Road in Oakland. I will remember for the rest of my life looking at the stars and planets and wanting to travel out there to them. Like generations of children after me, I sat in the Mercury capsule and I looked into the Gemini capsule and wished it was big enough for me to sit in that too. My experience at Chabot was part of what inspired me to study astronomy in undergraduate school, to join the Air Force and want to be an astronaut and go fly jets. And then after I left the Air Force, to go to work at the space agency and then at a U.S. National Laboratory. And that's why I'm on the board. And that's why I'm so passionate about the center's vital mission of bringing space and science education and experiences to the children of Oakland and the wider Bay Area. So today's elementary and secondary school youth can have the same opportunities I had, be inspired the same way I was, and perhaps pursue the great life and in science and service to the community that I've been fortunate enough to pursue.
Wow. We are so honored to have you, Bill, on this board. Thanks for your service. Thank you for everything. And thanks for sharing your STEM experience with us. We've had several special guests join us tonight, and we are excited to share one more. Up next, we are honored to have Apollo 9 astronaut Rusty Schweickart. Rusty is a retired business and government executive. He co-founded the B612 Foundation, a nonprofit private foundation that champions the development of spaceflight capability to protect Earth from future asteroid impacts. Whoa, that's intense. Schweickart is founder and past president of the Association of Space Explorers, the International Professional Society of Astronauts and Cosmonauts. I love the word cosmonaut. He also founded the Association of Space Explorers Committee on Near-Earth Objects. Now, this committee works with the UN on resolving the international geopolitical issues inherent in the NEO impact threat. And in 2014, oh, it's a long night, he co-founded Asteroid Day, celebrated annually on June 30th. This day is dedicated to public education on the impact, threat, and other features of asteroids. Schweickart joined NASA at one of 14 astronauts named in October 1963, the third group of astronauts selected. He served as lunar module pilot for Apollo 9, March 3rd, interesting, 1969, logging 241 hours in space. This was the third manned flight of the Apollo series and the first manned flight of the lunar module. During a 46 EVA, Schweickart tested the portable life support backpack, which was subsequently used on the lunar surface explorations. Later, he served as a backup commander for the first Skylab mission, where his work in overcoming initial solar shield problems earned him NASA's Exceptional Service Medal. Following his NASA career, he served in California Governor Jerry Brown's office for 2 years as his assistant for science and technology. In 1979, Rusty was appointed to the post of Commissioner of Energy for the state of California, where he served for 5.5 years. Rusty's busy. Last year, Rusty also generously directed the loan of Chabot's newest moon rock. Hope everyone got to come and see that. I love the moon rocks. I still love, my favorite thing about the moon rock is I always put it out there every time we talk about the moon rock. Does anybody know anything that, anyone that has an older artifact? Hit me. Anyway, from the Apollo 16 mission from the NASA Johnson Space Center, Schweickart received his Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degrees from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He and his wife, Nancy Ramsey, live in Sonoma, California. Well, hope you're doing okay up there. They have seen 7 children, 11 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Now, Rusty can get after it. Let's hear from Rusty as he takes a few questions from one of our member families. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Rusty Schweickart. I flew as an astronaut on Apollo 9. I was the lunar module pilot and got to check out the lunar module before it went out to the moon. We flew 10 days in Earth orbit back in 1969, long time ago. Talk about a long time ago, happy birthday to Chabot, 137 years old. That's even older than I am. And something like 20 up on Skyline. Wonderful place. You know, it really emphasizes the importance of science and technology. As an astronaut, I've always been interested in the stars and space and science and technology in general. And, you know, it's so important to realize that the world operates on a set of laws, what we call natural law, and understanding all of the mysteries that we see out in space when we look at the stars and galaxies and things of that kind. And yet, by making measurements, we can understand how they work. It is so exciting when you first get into science and technology and you begin to learn these basic principles. And Chabot helps kids do that. I mean, not just sort of academically, but by having displays and interactive things that you can mess with. And, you know, it's a great institution that is doing incredibly important work, especially today when there's so much challenge to science and technology. I mean, this is understanding the way our world works, and it's a really exciting thing to do, kids. And I really encourage you to take advantage of Chabot and all it's got to offer. Thanks very much for being up there, Chabot. Hey, Francis, that's a great question. You know, I'd been in space for 10 days before that time in weightlessness. And when you're in weightlessness, it's just amazing how your body adapts to just floating free. So one of the biggest feelings I had coming back into the atmosphere, as you begin to slow down as your spaceship hits the atmosphere, you begin to feel the weight of Earth again. You begin to feel drag, and it feels incredibly heavy on your body. And in fact, I looked over at the commander and I said, "How many G's are we pulling now, Jim?" And McDivitt looked at the G meter and he said, 0.1. And I was shocked, only a tenth of a G, and I've got to get up to about 4 or 5 G's before we hit the ocean. Wow, it was really heavy. Hi, Jess. Well, the most fun thing about working for NASA was that every day was a new day. Maybe you did things 2 or 3 or 4 times, but it was always something different, something new. And it was really fun. And especially knowing, you know, in the end, after all the work, you were going to fly into space and be able to look at this beautiful, beautiful Earth that we live on. That was really, really fun working for NASA. Hi, Isan. Well, let me tell you, the 2 things that you remember when you're flying as an astronaut in orbit are the experience of weightlessness, which is really, really fun. And the other thing that you remember all the rest of your life is how incredibly beautiful the Earth is when you look out the window and you see this beautiful blue Earth and a black, black, black universe above it. And between the two is this really, really thin, bright blue line at the very edge of the Earth that we call the atmosphere. And you begin to realize how precious that atmosphere is. It enables all of the life that we know of on Earth, that little thin skin of atmosphere. And so you really realize how fragile the Earth is in a sense, and it's up to us to protect it. And that was really one of the most profound memories I have. Avi, you have no idea what a fun question that is. And I wish I knew the answer. My answer is I wish I knew the answer. I was only up for 10 days, and I'm not really sure, even after the 9th or 10th day, that I really got a good night's sleep. It's a little bit like a camping trip. If you've been on a camping trip, you know, you don't sleep very well the first couple of nights, you know, in a sleeping bag on the hard ground. Well, in space, you're floating free. I was in a sleeping bag, but it was just to keep me from floating around too much. But getting a good night's sleep, I think you have to fly the way people do today, maybe for, you know, many weeks at a time, even many months at a time. And then you learn how to sleep, you adapt to almost anything. The body is an amazing invention. It will adapt to almost any environmental change, including weightlessness. Hi, Olivia. Asteroid Day. It's a really, really important day annually. We celebrated on the same day, 100 and some years ago now, that the Earth was hit by a pretty sizable asteroid that really wiped out a whole bunch of forest. I mean, something like 2,000 square kilometers, 800 square miles of forest in Siberia. And we celebrate that day because it's so important that the general public, that you kids and everybody else, your parents, everybody understand that an asteroid, if it hits the Earth, and it's a big enough one, can really create a lot of havoc. And yet we can deflect these asteroids by predicting ahead of time that one is headed for Earth. And that way we can deflect it away so it doesn't have to hit the Earth. That's a that one day will happen, and it's going to be very important that you and your parents and everybody else in the public understand what it is that's happening so that you can support all of the people who are going to be involved in making that deflection happen so that the asteroid doesn't hit the Earth when that day comes. And that's why it's important that you learn about asteroids. Plus, they're a lot of fun. They have lots of minerals, and we're going to be visiting them in the future as well. So they're not only dangerous once in a while when they're headed for Earth, but they're really great objects to explore in space. Well, that was a lot of fun, kids. I really enjoyed your questions and giving my personal answers to them. You know, curiosity is such an important thing, and you will understand as you get older. Even you understand it now, but you'll understand it even more as you get older and you realize that here we are in this crazy COVID-19 pandemic, and you yourself have been able to see and listening to the news and other things that the scientists really, it's important to really understand the science, what's really true about this disease, you know, that's affecting all of us, all of our lives. That's such an important thing. It's a great example of why your curiosity about biology or space or whatever is really important. We all, as parents, respect your curiosity, and it's important for you to pursue all of the things you're curious about as you go to school, as you go to college, as you get older. Thanks so much for letting me be with you on this great night. Happy birthday again to Chabot and everybody who's connected and supporting it.
Wow, that was so fascinating, Rusty. Thank you so much. And thanks to all the members who submitted all those questions. That was a great discussion. How many of you have attended some of our Space Rocks workshops, either as a field trip where we talk about asteroids and meteors and comets, or maybe you attended it as an overnight experience? Give us a little comment. Now let's do a little check-in on our totals. It looks like we're just about at almost $7,000. Way to go, folks. Keep it going. The night is still young, so it's not too late to contribute. And don't forget, you can contribute through the end of the month. In a little bit, right after our presentations, we'll have some virtual viewing. So stay tuned. Don't go away at the end of the program. Eric, what are you up to?
Well, you know, just hanging out. Just thought I'd find, you know, I was trying to find another spot to go to, but I love this color. So sweet. So before we turn this over to our astronomers for the night, we're doing one more flash fundraising moment. So if you're sitting at home, stand up, you know, wake up. Go get another drink. You know, if you need one more drink for that last flash, that just, you know, really gets you going for the last time for the night. Anyway, don't forget, if you can't do it tonight, this match is good for the end of the month. So please, you know, and if you can't, or if you have already tonight or this month given, ask a friend, please. You know, we are more than welcome to grow this community of STEM educators and people that believe in science. So with that, find that donation button. Are you ready? We'll go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Wow, that was incredible. You guys are doing great. Keep it up. There's still time to give. There's still time to bid on one of those action items. Don't miss out on your favorite. All of the proceeds tonight go to support our ongoing STEM education and our work throughout the community. We're so grateful to everyone who has donated so far tonight. Thank you to everyone who's made a donation or a bid on an item. And just remember, the bidding's still going on. You can bid through the end of the month. It's not too late. This is a challenging moment in the Chabot's history, and we need your support to continue this ongoing work that we do through this financial crisis and this closure that we're all in. We face the impact of this worldwide pandemic, and we are brought together by love of science. Don't you agree, Eric?
So true, Lisa, definitely. I definitely agree. Standing here and going the distance, and I remember when we were, building this whole exhibit that, we were talking about all these different things. And, one of the things that has always really stuck with me and about being here at Chabot is really that expanding your universe, and, the access to these telescopes that we're talking about and everything here. Just once you look through the telescopes, once you start talking more about space and what's out there, you really start really feeling what's going on out there. So to cap it off this evening, one of the crazy things that definitely was not on my mind as much as it is now is, a special piece on asteroids from our astronomers. While we are unable to look through the telescopes tonight, are we looking through the telescopes? Never mind. Telescopes are on. Yes, knock wood. So we will be, we welcome Chabot astronomer Gerald McKeegan, longtime Chabot volunteer and board member, as well as East Bay Astronomical Society, President Richard Ozer, who will be diving into this thrilling topic tonight. I hear they're even going to show us a one-of-a-kind image of a recently discovered near-Earth asteroid seen by Chabot's telescope. Who's ready? Shout out to Gerald. Take it away.
Hi, how you doing? Okay, everyone can hear me. Great. This has been a lot of fun tonight. I've seen a lot of names that I haven't seen in a while scroll by on this chat window. Thank you everyone for attending tonight. Great presentations. And what we're going to do for a few minutes is give you a taste of what Gerald and I do every Saturday night now for Chabot with our live telescope viewing. And we have behind us, or behind me, the 36-inch research telescope called Nellie. And we have a camera attached. And when the weather is permitting, we'll pick out bright deep sky objects or planets that are well positioned in the night sky, or sometimes the moon. And we'll talk about what we're looking at and give you live views through the telescope. And so without further ado, let me share screen. And what we've got on the screen, I'm sure you all recognize, is Jupiter. And you can even see, it's a little tough because the seeing's a little fuzzy tonight, but you can see the great red spot. If I can get my cursor over there. Now the cursor's not cooperating, but right about just to the right of the arrow. I'm going to leave the cursor there right now. But if you look to the right at the lower cloud band, you'll see that there's kind of a reddish area, and that's the great red spot of Jupiter. So what we're generally able to do is try to see planetary details if the atmosphere is cooperating. And in this case, if we can't see a lot of planetary details, what we're at least able to do is go ahead and show you some of the moons of Jupiter. And right now, what you can see is just going behind the planet. On the left-hand side of Jupiter, you could see Io. And over here, off to the right, is Europa. And I'm able to, control the exposure and, decide whether I'm going to bring out planetary details or show the moons or, whatever else we're trying to do throughout the presentation. And so that's kind of what we're going to do every Saturday night. And I hope you join us. Tomorrow night will be 9:30, right, Gerald?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
9:30, and then the week after that, we'll be moving it to 9 o'clock. So please jump in and join us on Saturday nights. It's a lot of fun.
Hey, Richard, if you can bump up the exposure again, we can actually, in your close-up view, we can actually see Io just poking out from.
Let me do that. Oh yeah, right there, just flipping out behind the.
Yeah, so if you look in the blown up image there to the right, you can just see a little bump on the left edge of Jupiter.
Right there.
That is the moon Io. Io is the closest of the 4 Galilean moons. And Io takes only 2 days to orbit around Jupiter. So it orbits very rapidly. And it is also the most volcanically active body in the solar system. Io is stretched and released by Jupiter's strong gravity, and that makes it a lot of the internal heat. That makes it a very volcanic body.
Great, that's a cool view. Yeah, in another few minutes, it'll disappear behind the planet, but we're lucky we caught that tonight. I'm going to bring this back down. Yeah, now we've got a very nice view of the red spot. So right where my cursor is, you can see the red spot. And I hope everybody can see it on whatever screens they're using. Anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Gerald. He's got a really interesting presentation on near-Earth asteroids and some photographs that he took through Nellie of the recent encounter with a near-Earth asteroid just about a week and a half ago, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, it's all yours.
So,
I'm going to stop my screen share.
You turn off your screen share there.
Yep.
All right.
And
then I'm going to start chatting here. Not sure if I'm on yet or not.
Yeah, you're on, but you got to do a screen share.
All right. Well, I'm not going to start the screen share just yet. What I want to talk about, though, is most of you are not aware of it, but we had a very close encounter with an asteroid just a few days ago. On Sunday, an asteroid, a very small asteroid, passed within 1,800 miles of the Earth's surface. It was, like I said, a small asteroid, only about 10 or 12 feet in diameter, but it was not detected until just a couple of hours before it made its closest approach to the Earth. So, earlier Rusty Schweickart was talking about the need for being able to detect near-Earth asteroids and be able to deflect them and so on. And it turns out that Chabot is actually part of that process. So about a week before that, we were actually observing an asteroid, and I wanted to kind of share that with you. So bear with me here for a second, and I'll get this up and running here. And hopefully we'll get that going. There we go. All right. So the asteroid that I'm going to talk to you about is called 2020 PL2. It's also designated as K20P02L. The picture you see there is not the asteroid. That's just an asteroid image that one of NASA's spacecraft took when it flew by an asteroid. So I just threw it in there for decoration. You'll see the actual asteroid here in a minute. But I'll tell you a little bit about this asteroid. It was discovered on Thursday, August 12th by the Atlas Survey telescope on Haleakala in Hawaii. And it turned out that we were observing it later on that day here at Chabot. Chabot's 36-inch telescope, Nellie, is actually part of a global network of observatories that searches for and tracks near-Earth asteroids. So we happened to be working that evening, so we got a chance to actually track this asteroid shortly after it was discovered. The asteroid is pretty large. It's somewhere between 66 and 150 meters. For those of you who don't speak metric. That's 218 to 495 feet. This asteroid has an orbital period of 360 days, so just short of 1 year. And it has a very elongated orbit. It's an orbit that takes it in close to the sun. It actually gets closer to the sun than the planet Venus, and then it swings out and actually gets farther from the sun, or almost as far from the sun as the planet Mars. So it's a highly elliptical, oval-shaped orbit that crosses back and forth over the Earth's orbit, and hence it's called a near-Earth asteroid. Now, it just turns out that because of the tilt of its orbit, it actually does not pass through the Earth's orbit. So that's the good news. So its orbit is tilted at about 34.5 degrees. So when it crosses the Earth's orbit, it's actually either high above it or low below it. So right now, there's no risk of this asteroid hitting us, but it's a good asteroid for kind of demonstrating the process that we use for searching for and tracking near-Earth asteroids. This asteroid made its closest approach to Earth, or will make its closest approach to Earth's orbit of 1.3 million miles. But at the time we were observing it, it was much farther away. It was 4.4 million miles away. This asteroid was pretty faint. Its magnitude, magnitude is how astronomers measure the brightness of an object when we see it through our telescopes. And in our magnitude system, the bigger the number, the fainter the object is. So a really bright object would be magnitude 0 or 1. The faintest object you can see with your naked eye is about 6.2, 6.5. That would be a star that you would see if you were in a really, really dark sky location where you had just perfect, pristine conditions. You might be able to see a star that's as faint as magnitude 6.5. This asteroid was at magnitude 17.2, which makes it 25,130 times fainter than the faintest naked eye star that you can see. So we were observing the evening of the 12th with Nellie, and we did take photographs of the field of view where this asteroid was passing through. This is one of those photographs. Now, when you look at this picture, you might be surprised to see that it doesn't look like your typical astrophotography photograph. The sky isn't black. The stars look kind of blotchy. They don't look like sharp points of light. This is intentional. When we do this work, we want to extract as much data as we can from these images. So we use a process called stretching. And in stretching, we take very faint objects and make them look much brighter. If I were to adjust this image so that the background was black, most of the stars that you see in the image would disappear. You wouldn't be able to see them. But by doing this stretching process, we can make very faint objects, very faint stars appear. They may appear very faint, but we can distinguish them from the background. Now, in this image, there is the asteroid, and it's one of the fainter objects in this image. One way we find them is by taking multiple images of the same part of the sky and then blinking through them, kind of making a little movie. So I'm actually going to do that here. I've now switched to a group of 6 images that are blinking as you watch, and the asteroid is actually visible in these images. And I'll let you stare at it for a little while and see if you can find it. I'll warn you, you'll see a flash right here and another one down here somewhere. Those are not the asteroid. Those bright flashes are actually caused by cosmic rays hitting the camera, and they cause individual pixels in the camera to momentarily flash. All of these exposures are each about 3.5 seconds long. So in that time, a cosmic ray can hit the camera and cause a pixel to flash. And There's a total of 6 images here, and they're taken over a period of about 8 to 9 minutes total elapsed time. So hopefully you've all found the asteroid by now, but if you haven't, I'm going to help you out a little bit here. It's within that little oval. And if you look, you'll see a little very faint object moving from one frame to the next. In some frames, it's brighter. In some frames, it's dimmer. It's too dim in these images for us to really get good data. So we have to use a different technique for asteroids like this that are close and moving pretty fast. So I'm going to show you just a single image here. Here's just one of those images. And then this one, the asteroid is fairly bright. It's this guy right there. But like I say, this is not bright enough for us to really get good data. So we use a technique for fast moving objects like this called stacking. And what we do is we take a whole bunch of images, one right after the other. And then we take groups of those images and we stack them. But we stack them in the way that the asteroid stays in the same spot in the frame. And we move the star field at about the rate we think the asteroid is moving. And by doing that, by stacking the image that way, the asteroid gets brighter and brighter as we stack more images, but the stars will appear as streaks rather than points of light. So I'm going to give you an example here. This is one of those images where I've taken 5 individual images that were taken in rapid succession, and I've stacked them together, but I've stacked them in such a way that each image shifts slightly corresponding to the movement of the asteroid. So the asteroid part of the image gets stacked one on top of the other, but the stars all shift. And when we do this, we get the streaky stars, but we get a nice round bright point that's the asteroid. Now you can take a bunch of these stacks and blink through them, and you'll actually see the motion of the asteroid. And so this is what it looks like. In these images, the asteroid is bright enough for us to actually get data. And what we do is we figure out the exact position of the asteroid in each image. We measure how bright it is in each image. We measure the exact time of each image down to the fraction of a second. We have to use special software in our computers to make sure that it's extremely accurate on the timing. And we get all that data and we send it to the International Astronomical Union's Minor Planet Center in Massachusetts. They combine our data with data from other observatories and use that data to calculate the orbit of the asteroid and decide whether or not it's going to be a threat to us at some time in the future. So that's the process. That's how we do asteroid searching. And we do that up here at Chabot pretty often, several times a month. And again, we are part of a global network of observatories that's doing this work. All right.
Great. Well, folks, join us tomorrow night.
Yep, 9:30 tomorrow night.
Yep, 9:30 tomorrow night. And we'll see what else we have to show you.
Yeah,
and hopefully the skies will be clear and the smoke will be gone and all that good stuff. So
we'll definitely see Jupiter again and maybe Saturn and maybe a couple of special stars called carbon stars. That's on the agenda for tomorrow night. So join us then.
That's the plan. All right. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks you two. That was an awesome presentation. Please give a hand to our Chabot board member, Gerald McKeegan, and East Bay Astronomical Society President, Richard Ozer. Please, give them some love. We are really grateful for our friends at the East Bay Astronomical Society, which was founded in Chabot in 1924 for almost a century now. Whoa. The East Bay Astronomical Society has been some of our greatest advocates, biggest supporters, and closest friends. We are so grateful to President Richard Ozer and members of EAS for everything they do for the center. Lisa?
Thanks, Eric. Huge thanks for everybody out there joining us. Thanks, Richard and Gerald, two of my favorite people in the universe, period. We've had tons of fun tonight. We met an astronaut, we made rockets, we looked back on our beloved history, we made a cocktail. What was your favorite moment of the night?
Mine?
Yeah.
Mine was probably sitting in the capsule again and just like taking a moment in the nice clean capsule.
I like that it's clean. It's very small and snug. I don't know that I could make the trip to space. Well, before we close out the night, we do want to give a huge thanks to all of you who have been tuning in and supporting STEM education. Thank you for helping us launch the next generation of innovators, leaders, and explorers. You know, this moment when we remember the importance of having an informed citizenry empowered by critical thinking skill to make decisions with sound judgment. This election year, we encourage all of you to take the time, research the candidates, make your voices be heard this November, please. Eric?
That is a great reminder, Lisa. As we look to the future of Chabot and our community, we honor the vision, the lives, and stories of those who have left a mark at the center. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of our 137-year legacy and supported our vital work to make STEM education accessible and engaging for all. Tonight, thanks to you out there, I am excited to announce that together we have raised how much?
$8,807. Woo-hoo! Happy day.
Yeah, make it rain out there, people. Thank you to everyone who have participated tonight, including our board members for that match. Awesome. Volunteers for everything you do, and just also volunteers for chomping at the bit to just come back and do whatever you can for us. The Galaxy Explorers, you, our members, and more. We would like to give special thanks to Rusty Schweickart for all he's done for Chabot. Thanks for taking a time for with our members, including dedicated an Apollo 16 moon rock to the center, and for joining us tonight. We look forward to welcoming you back to the center with new exhibits, programs, and much more. So stay tuned for some exciting new stuff that's coming out. I can't wait to announce some things. Chabot Space and Science Center has a bright future, and it's because of you all. We plan to emerge from this crisis as a stronger, more impactful institution at this time when science has never been more important. Thank you all for making our work possible and for tuning in tonight. Have a great night, everyone, and thank you for being a part of this special celebration of 20 years and 137 years total. Be safe, hug your family if you can, and stick with it. We'll get through it. All right, bye.
Good night, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.